team in the area has a new coach, and that is the Northrop Bruins. Coach John Schaefer joining us now on the show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Sideline Sports Show, Coach, and congratulations on getting the job at Northrop. You are a Northrop through and through. So, what did getting this job mean to you?
Oh, well, first, thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it. But it means a lot, as you mentioned, Northrop through and through. I went to school here, kind of grew up here. My grandma actually taught here at Northrop when the building first opened. And,
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
so I've been around here since I was a little baby. And so all I know is, orange and brown. So it means a lot to me, my family, my friends. So, I'm just blessed to have this opportunity.
Yeah, don't make me go get my Southside hat. I don't know what all that. Talking about that orange and brown. But all seriousness, Coach, I've seen a lot of you this past season being on Northrop sidelines. The second team I've seen the most last season, so definitely seen a lot of you on the sidelines. But just talk a little bit about the program you're taking over. Coming out of last season, one of the most successful. I mean, not one of the most, the successful season
Hmm.
in Northrop football history.
Yeah.
Literally records broken. Quarterback David Callison, Quay Guilford, obviously going on Ohio State. Shout out to him. But taking over after a record-breaking season, that's scary. That's scary. But I know you're up for the job. But just talk about the program you're taking over.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, right, record-breaking season, best season since I think the late '90s here. So really excited. Our senior class, as you mentioned, some of those guys, David Callison, Quay Guilford, they really set a great foundation for us going forward to carry a lot of this momentum coming into the to this next season. So we have a lot of key guys returning, and a lot of key guys that we're going to call upon to fill in those footsteps. It's hard to replace a Quay Guilford, hard to replace a David Callison, but we're gonna have to do it by committee, and I think we got the guys to continue on what those seniors kind of laid down for us.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the guys that are going to be coming back for you: Ifeani Imadobe, Levi Porti, Camden Day. Yeah, DC shaking
Boys,
your head. You like my pronouncing Ifeani? I got it right. So
of
I
course, yeah.
remember because we were talking about him a couple weeks ago when he was down at a showcase, and he's had a lot. His name has definitely blown up here recently. Having that those type of guys who are at a whole different level, power level guys that are going to be playing at the next level, that has to at least make you feel a little bit better in taking over a program, having a good foundation of guys that are talented, and I'm sure you're going to be leaning on those guys a lot to be the leadership, and be the people that everybody looks up to in this program going into next season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those guys are the guys you mentioned, and Maddox Wild.
Yep.
Those guys are going to have to be, our leaders, vocal, and just to show the younger guys how things are supposed to be done. We're going to have a lot of eyes on our program, as you mentioned. With those guys being Division I caliber players. So it's a great opportunity for not only them but for our younger guys as well to get exposure and learn how things are supposed to be done.
Yeah, before I get attacked, I want to make sure it wasn't only because I probably will. I'm sure I'll get a message later. But also, Cornelius Jackson broke records on defense as well.
Yep, yep.
Calm down, everyone. All right. I'm checking my phone, making sure I don't get that. And, obviously, D Hogue leaves too, one of the best safeties in the state. I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. So, a ton of talent. But as you talk about the talent that returns, what does that mean for you to have, still a lot of guys returning as well? You talked about you will have a new quarterback
Hmm.
that I've actually got to see a little bit. I've seen him at the showcase, but just talk a little bit about, because it's going to be a little bit of a different program under you, I assume. So, what are some things you're going to hope to instill as you step in as the new head coach?
Yeah, so bringing those guys back, it is nice because, they saw kind of what we were able to achieve last year with the team that we had. Now, going forward, yeah, like you mentioned, our offense and defense might be it might look a little bit different, but we still want to instill a lot of the same principles that we had before. So having those guys return is big, because they know kind of how things are supposed to look and operate at the highest level, when, we're doing it right. So, yeah, new quarterback um, is on the table still, and we're just we're excited to get after it. He's young, but I think we got the guys around him to be able to build him up and keep his confidence up.
Coach, what is it? What is it like around Northrop when the program is playing well? Obviously, you've been a part of the team when things aren't going so well, and now you got
Mhm.
to experience last year when the program is achieving and breaking records. What's the difference in morale, not just in the program, but the whole community, the whole Northrop community? What's morale like when this program is rolling?
No, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, when I was a student here, our programs weren't the most successful, and I've been a teacher here now for a couple of years too. So, the vibe in the building is just completely different. Football teams kind of run the building. I mean, and every other sport kind of follows suit as well. So, um, the vibe in the building this year was amazing to be a part of. People were excited to come to the games. They were happy to see our football players. Our football players were excited to go to school because they were getting that positive recognition from not only their classmates but the staff in the building as well. So it definitely was a positive overall environment for everybody involved.
Yeah, and something else I wanted to ask about too, which I assume, at least I'm hoping I'm assumed correct. But as you step in, and I know it's a little early as you've been stepping in, taking over, but I assume most of the assistant coaches will be returning. Like I know Coach
Mhm.
Caleb has been monumental to the defensive line and stuff, and I know Dre Muhammad, who obviously the name speaks for itself, what he does for players in the area in the Midwest. Do you retain most of the coaching staff?
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as I found out I got the job a little, so I found out a little bit before it got announced, but we couldn't really say anything. But I was given the green light to start contacting my assistant coaches, and I got the green light from pretty much everybody coming back. So that's a big thing, and all credit to Coach Bowen before us for assembling this great
Absolutely.
staff. Yeah, and he put together one of the best staffs in the area, I believe. Not only X's and O's, but just coaches being able to relate and build those relationships with our athletes. So that was a big thing for me, was trying to keep as many assistant coaches on staff as possible to help carry this momentum that we got.
You mentioned Coach Bowen, who you were an assistant under, and also Coach Dorfler as well when he was
Hmm.
running the program. What did you take from those two guys specifically that kind of stuck out with you, and that you're going to make sure to utilize and implement on the program going forward?
Yeah, just how great of leaders of young men that they are. They have a very powerful voice in the locker room, and with the coaching staff. So I've kind of molded a little bit of each guy a little bit into myself. So yeah, those are just two great coaches beyond X's and O's. Building those relationships with players and families within our community. So those are just two great guys that I've learned under for these past 7 years.
I'm sure this will help you too going into next season. You'll have your own football field, no longer have to share it. I'm sure that feels good too.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We can call it's our own. We don't got to share anything. We never have to go to that visitor sideline. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. I've been since I mentioned Ifiani. What makes him so special? Because me and DC were talking about him. Like I said, probably about a month or so ago when he's was
Hmm.
down at a showcase, and obviously probably since in the last couple of months he's exploded. Just got a Notre Dame offer, a Texas Tech offer, and those programs are pride themselves on defensive line play. What have you seen just from in the last year or so, because obviously he's kind of still new-ish to football? How has he kind of grown up in the last just year or so?
Yeah. Yeah, Ifiani, he is, an athletic freak. And I know you guys have seen that.
Yes.
When he came to us, he was just so raw and everything like that. So he's been a sponge as well, learning the game of football. I think when one of the local news, Wayne 15 came out early summer and gave him an interview last summer, he uh, he really didn't even know what to talk about because he was still just learning football, right? But
Right.
but if you talk to him now, he understands a lot more, our defensive concepts, line stunts, this and that, techniques and everything, and he's just such a hard worker and just such a good kid overall that like any program is going to be lucky to get him in the future, because anything he's going to put his mind to, he's going to sit out and do it because He's getting up before school and going to lift, doing our after school lifts, and then going to traction to get his defensive line work in after. So he's nonstop work. When he puts his mind to something, he's going to go get it.
Yeah, speaking of hard worker, you made me do a double take on what day it is. Are you at school?
Yeah, so I'm in the locker room right now.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm in the locker room. Came out, decided to try and get some inventory started and getting going on that. So um, I was actually sick earlier this week, so I'm
oh,
feeling 100% now. So I wanted to get out of the house and go do something. So
yeah.
I hard to get me away from this place.
Hey, I'm just picking on you, coach. I looked at the background. I'm like, that looks like a school clock, and I'm looking up. Like, man,
Yeah,
it's a little late. The kids are late for school today. They ain't making it today. So just having a little fun with you, coach. Definitely looking
absolutely.
forward to everything. You'll obviously see me on the sidelines once again, watching you guys and interviewing the players, interviewing you after games. So very excited for you in this program. This is only the beginning. I'm really glad that you keep most of the coaching staff too to help mold these young men, our future, and all these talented players that you will have. So very excited for you, coach, and welcome. It's going to be a grind.
I appreciate you guys so much and everything you guys do, not only for just local sports, but just everything in general in the area. So I appreciate you guys very much.